In this practice, we'll work on recovery. Yoga is such a wonderful way to bring yourself back to yourself. In other words, if you have a lot of external factors, for example, a natural disaster or some traumatic event that's occurred to you, yoga is one way to bring yourself back into focus so that you can concentrate, so that you can address the issue at hand rather than constantly projecting forward. As I thought about this practice, it occurred to me that rather than starting with a vigorous sun salute and standing poses, when you want to recover, when you want to draw your attention inward, you want to be near the earth. And so we'll start in reverse order to what we normally do in a yoga practice. We'll start close to the earth in more restorative poses. And those restorative poses include supine poses and seated poses. Then we'll go to standing poses in this practice. Let's begin. Lie on your back with your knees bent. With your knees bent and your feet firmly planted, take your feet as wide apart as the mat is. Allow your inner knees to drop in to touch. Place your hands to your low belly area. Spread your fingers. Close your eyes. Receive a nice full in-breath through the nose. A long out-breath through the nose. See how you can soften your facial muscles. Yet deepen and lengthen your breath. You breathe in deep. You breathe out long. Just come to a full yet natural cycle of your breath. You can exert just a little pressure with your palms, with your fingertips. And observe how the fullness of your breath can affect the expansion of the front side of the body and the back side of the body, even the sides of your body, from your pelvis up to your armpit. Just notice how the skin is moving against your mat. How your belly rises and falls with the in-breath and the out-breath. Now take your hands away from your low belly and place the arms in a cactus pose, with the elbows roughly aligned with the shoulders, with the palms facing up. Spread your fingers. Keep your feet nice and wide apart. Separate your knees and draw your knees over toward the right side. Reach your left arm up, just slide it up with the palm facing up. Receive nice fullness to your breath. Take the left arm back to cactus. Lift your knees up. Take your knees over to the left side. Slide the back side of your arm all the way up so that you get this length. You breathe into the length that the pose gives you on the right side. Now take your right elbow back to where it was in this cactus form. Place your right ankle to the outer left knee. Reach your right knee away from your right ribs. Keep your right toes active. Now take the hands just by the right pant leg crease and reach the right thigh even further. Release the right foot down, have your feet hip distance apart, and take the arms back to a cactus pose. Step your feet again as wide as the mat is. Reach your knees over to the right side in this windshield wiper action. Extend from the left pelvic point to the left knee to get as much length as possible there. If your left knee is fine with it, stack your right ankle to the outer left knee and reach from the right pelvis to the right knee. Just get nice length there. Release your right foot back to the right edge of the mat and lift your knees up. Take your knees over to the left side. Again, if your right knee is fine with it, you can take your left ankle to the outer right knee and invite the breath to be very full as you lengthen from the pelvis to the left knee. Have the breath very full and bright. Step your left foot back to the mat, have your feet hip distance apart, and take your left ankle to the outer right knee. Reach your left knee away from your left ribs. Now take both hands, stack them, and place the hands right above the pant leg crease and reach the left knee even further away. Release your left foot down. Now give yourself a big hug by drawing the thighs in. Just squeeze them in for a lot of hip flexion. Place your hands right at your kneecaps. Now take your knees away from your ribs. Activate your feet by spreading your toes. Lift your feet up just slightly. So now the legs are active. Your knees are reaching away from the ribs while your palms are pulling through your arm strength. You're pulling the knees back and just rock very gently, so slowly, so that you feel like you're giving your gluteus muscles a nice massage. While you have a nice curve in the lumbar spine, just go slow. Now keep the curve and the strength of the muscles at the lumbar curve. Take your feet down and slide them straight. As you do, reach your arms up and over your head. Enjoy a nice length here and stack your left palm above your right palm and reach your right hand and your left hand over to the right side. Now walk your feet over to the right side. Invite nice fullness to the left side. Now move your hands and your feet just a little bit more to get even more fullness, more length to the left side. Now come back to the center position with your hands nice and wide apart, wider than shoulder width. Reach your arms over your head. Find fullness there. Now stack the right palm on the left hand. Move your left hand over to the left side, so you're making kind of like a letter C on the yoga mat. Walk your feet over to the left side. And breathe in to the right side. Expand. Now make your move and go a little bit deeper to the left side. And expand the breath again. Just bring your attention to the fullness of the breath to really enhance this stretch to the side. Now walk your feet back to the center position. Take your arms down with the palms facing up, reaching the fingers toward your feet. Bend your knees. Plant your feet. Have your feet about hip distance apart. On the next in-breath, lift your pelvis up. You get nice fullness to the front side of the body as you pull from the toes to the heels back to the heart. To energize the legs, release your pelvis down. Pause here. Take your feet together in a prayer position. Take your hands right at the pant leg crease, just at the top of the thigh, and just give a gentle nudge, little weight on your inner thighs to get a little bit more opening. Fold the knees in toward each other, but step your feet hip distance apart. With the feet hip distance apart, inhale, lift your pelvis up, draw your shoulder blades in. Get this nice fullness to the front side of the body. You might even want to bend your elbows to get even more lift of the upper chest. Release your pelvis down to the mat. Step your feet so that the bottoms of the feet are together in a prayer pose. Take your hands at the upper inner thighs and just a light pressure to open the pelvic area nicely. You breathe in deep and long, and you start to notice how recovery is visible. How recovery feels like there is light at the end of the tunnel. You're just drawing your awareness to yourself rather than to all the external chaos around you. You have a nice, easeful in-breath and out-breath. You fold the knees in again and step the feet hip distance apart. And one last time. With the legs engaged by pulling in first, a nice isometric action, pulling the heels toward your heart. And notice how that strengthens your lumbar spine. You get a nice curve there. Keep the curve as you lift the pelvis up. Have a nice fullness to your breath. And release your pelvis down. Slide your feet so that your legs are straight again. And have the feet, just like windshield wipers, just move the feet side to side to release your legs more fully. Come to a place of stillness, no more movement. Draw your right knee in and just give your right thigh a nice hug. Place your right foot to the top of your left thigh and spread your wings by reaching your right arm to the side. Have your left hand just to the outer right knee. Come to a nice twist action. You can release and come back to the center. With the right knee bent, just extend your right foot toward the ceiling. You can walk your hand up toward the foot, or some of you might be able to grab your foot and draw your right knee down slightly. You can release your right foot and just let the right leg just slide toward the end of the mat. Bend your left knee. Place your left foot to the top of the right thigh. With your right hand, just gently draw the left knee to the right side. You can extend your left arm just to get a nice easeful twist. Come out of the twist. Keep your left knee bent. Just draw it in. Reach your left foot up toward the ceiling. Take your left hand to the shin, to the ankle, or to the baby toe side of the foot. Keep your right thigh drawing down as you open the left side. Now release and slide your left leg straight. Once again, just move your ankles side to side. And let's do a full happy baby pose. So bend your knees, draw both thighs in, give them a hug. Take your feet up toward the ceiling. Take your hands wherever it's comfortable for you. Hold onto your feet, your shins, whatever works for you, and very slowly just move side to side as a way to give yourself a nice massage. When you recover, you want to just be so mindful and really slow down your actions so you have time to feel what's going on. So as you rock side to side, just notice what you feel on the right side of your spine. And as you pass through and go to the left side, what's that feeling like? Just continue nice, easy rocking motion. Now keep your knees bent, have your inner knees touch, and reach your arms over your head. Roll to your right side and pause there with your right arm as your pillow. Slowly lift yourself up and come to sit. Sit tall, cross your legs, hide your ankles. Take your right hand lined up with the pelvis, and reach your left arm up and over and rise up. Take your left hand, slide it slightly away from the pelvis. Take your right arm up and over with the left hand really press down to keep your right sit bones planted nicely. Inhale, rise up, fold your legs the opposite direction. Hide your ankles again, but keep your legs very active by pushing into the baby toe side of the foot. Take your right hand once again to the mat. Left arm lifts up and over. Strong action of the right hand keeps your left sit bones planted. And rise up. Other side. Left hand down. Right arm up and over. Inhale, rise up. Come to all fours position. In all fours position, with your knees hip distance apart, tuck your toes under and reach your pelvis back. If your knees allow it, see if you can bring your pelvis a little bit closer to your heels. Have your arms lifting. Have your elbows lifted. Have the armpits lifted. Reach your pelvis back. On the next in-breath, come up to tabletop position and step your right foot to the right edge of the mat. And just step your hands over to the left side and bow in. So the right knee is roughly right over the right ankle. You're just allowing yourself this time to get to know your body, to get in touch with your breath. You can release to come back to that child's pose with our toes tucked under. With the toes tucked under, just draw your pelvis back. In this version, the knees are not wide, but if you prefer that, of course, you can do that. Now step your left foot to the left edge of the mat. Walk your hands over to the right and move at the diagonal. So you just bow in. Get this nice fullness to the breath. Nice ease. You can release yourself to come to tabletop position again. With the toes tucked under, the knees hip distance apart. Reach your pelvis back. You can walk your hands over to the right side and stack your left hand on top of the right hand and just slide your left hand a little bit taller than the right hand and breathe in to expand through the left side rib. Shift back to the center position, hands as wide apart as your mat is. Release your head down. Move your hands to the left side. Stack your right palm on top of your left. Find fullness to the breath. Come back to the center position, up to all fours position, and make your way to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, nod your head yes, shake it no. Return to finding fullness in your breath. And begin to move your legs. Bend your right knee. Keep your left leg straight. Straighten your right, bend your left. Straighten your left and bend your right. Straighten your right and bend your left. Now with both legs straight, walk your hands back to your feet. Bend your knees. Place your hands right above your knees. Straighten your arms and draw your heart forward. Lift your chin. Exhale, look in toward your heart. Inhale, draw your heart forward. Exhale, take your gaze in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now free your arms. Reach them up. Draw your pelvis back slightly. Draw your hands all the way to the mat. Come to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, allow fullness to your breath. Lift your heels high. Bend your knees and lift your sit bones high. Try to keep the lift of your sit bones and straighten your legs. Walk your feet up to your hands. Place your hands to your low back. Rise up. So we started supine. We then moved to seated poses, to downward facing dog, and now we are at the traditional beginning of the practice, meaning we're doing standing poses. So we've been easing into the practice in that full recovery that yoga can bring to you when you're close to the earth. Now you have this nice sense of fullness. Step your feet nice and wide apart. With your feet parallel to each other, draw your heart down and place your fingertips on the mat. Walk your hands over to the right side. Bend your right knee and draw your left thigh back. Slowly straighten your right leg. Walk your hands over to the left side. Bend your left knee. Draw the top of the right thigh back. Release your head down. Walk your hands back to the right side again. Bend your right knee again. Reach your left hand as far as possible at the diagonal. Bend your right knee more as your left side expands. Find fullness to your breath and draw a little bit deeper in the pose. Walk your hands over to the left side. Bend your left knee. Take the top of the right thigh back. Extend your right hand as far as possible at the diagonal to the left. Come back to the center position. Bow in. Take your hands nice and wide apart and bend your elbows to reach the elbows forward to get more length to the right side body, to the left side body. With your knees bent, With your hands to your low back, rise up. Now turn your right toes out toward the front of the mat. Bend your knee. Just bow in toward your right knee. Inhale, rise up. Do the same with the left. Turn your right toes in before turning your left toes out. Bend your left knee. Bow in. Rise up. Heel toe your feet in toward each other. Come to Tadasana. Close your eyes. Receive the breath. You've given yourself this time to recover, to rejuvenate, to restore, to bring your attention inward. Place your hands right in front of your heart. Honor yourself, honor your practice, honor this opportunity to recover. Namaste.